video, we added a high score list to the end of our game. So after we played our game of Brick Breaker, we read in a list of high scores from a text file. We actually made player objects for each of those names and scores, and then we displayed a list at the end of the game. So in this video, we're going to see how we can actually input a name. So let's say somebody gets a new high score. We can input a name, and then in the next part after that is trying to add that new name to the array list if it is indeed a high score. I mean, you could always add the player and the score after every game is played. You could just have this growing array list, but then maybe only display the top 5 or the top 10 high scores. So that's up to you. Okay, so I'll just run it first and show you what mine looks like. Yeah, you can play the game out. And what I've added here is a little score box. Now, I'd like you to make yours a little bit better than mine. But every time I hit a brick, the score goes up. So you can see I hit 1. And so I just get 1 point for every brick. You can change this if you want special bricks to be worth more than 1. Sometimes, as you'll see on that last bounce, sometimes my ball still hits multiple bricks at once. I think you'll see it again right here. There, so it kind of knocked out 2. So that's if it hits 2 bricks kind of right in the middle. It can take both of them out. That's not such a big deal. You could fix that by making your ball a little bit smaller. So now if I let the ball hit the ground, I added this screen. So before I show my high score list, it's telling me the game is over. It's telling me what my score is. Again, if I had more time, I'd make this look a little bit better. And then I have a box here. It's called a text field. And I can click in this box and I can type my name. Okay, and then again, it would be nice to have an enter button or something like that, but I just click anywhere and then it goes to the high scores. Now, I have not yet added, I haven't written code yet to add my new score to this list. So I'm going to leave that as an exercise for you to try and figure out. So in this video, we're just going to see how to get the input. And I'd like to credit Nick for kind of showing me that text field option. In the past, I've used something else called a JOption pane window, but I kind of like the look of this, this text field better. Okay, so we'll close this. So yeah, I don't think we need any new import statements for this part. But in my list of global class variables, we're going to add 2 things here. So we're going to add something called a JText field, and I called it name input, but you can call that whatever you want. And then I created a string variable called name, and that's going to be used to store the name of the current player playing your game. Okay, so then in the constructor, we have a few lines that we have to add, and I put that right at the bottom here. So we're going to add all of this here. So we're just assigning our text field to 15 characters. Again, you can change that if you'd like. You can set some default text to appear. So I'm just saying enter your name. You can set the bounds, so the size of the rectangle, basically. This thing I commented out, but you can actually create a type of border around your box. You might want to have your own border, like you might want to draw up kind of a fancy rectangle that kind of suits your theme. You can set the alignment, so I'm setting mine to center. You can set the font to whatever you choose. You can set the foreground color of your text field. You can set it to opaque, and then more importantly, you can set it to visible. So right now I'm setting this name input field. I'm setting that text box to false. Okay, and then finally we have to add the text field to this JPanel. All right, so that's a lot you have to put in there. Then if I scroll down to Oh, one more thing I had to change with a little bit of investigation. So I had to change the name of my paint method to paint component. I'm not exactly sure why at this point I had to do that, but I had to do that in order to get mine to work. You can try and leave it and see if yours works, but I had to do that for mine. And then in the in my different screens here, I am making sure to set my name input to false. Um, this is just in case I restart my game. So if I want to play the game a second time, I want to make sure I set this to false. And then I'm only setting it to true on screen 3. So I added a new screen where I'm showing my lose screen. So it basically says game over, and then it allows them to enter their name into this box. You could also, and you should also add another screen called maybe if you win the game, if you hit all the bricks, you should kind of do a similar thing here, but maybe draw your win screen. Okay, so I have not done that, but you should. And then I've got a fourth screen, and this is I'm setting the text input to false again, and then I'm drawing my high score, and that's what we did in the previous video. Okay, so. Oh, one more thing. I forgot that I added a way back up at the top. I added a score variable. I don't think I did this in the last video. So that is a global variable, which again means that I can use this variable in any method in this class. Okay. So then when I go down to my game method, which is draw game screen. So I'm drawing my background, my ball, my paddle. I'm checking for collision. I'm drawing all of my bricks if they are visible. And then I'm checking collision with the ball. Oh, yes. Okay. So here is where I add 1 to my score. So if my ball collides with a brick, so if this is true, okay, I suppose I could just take off this. Oh, and what I did is I changed this method to return a Boolean. So if you go to your ball class, if I flip over to the ball class, you should have 2 collides with methods. So I've just changed this one. I changed it from a void method to a Boolean. So this is basically going to tell me if my ball collided with my brick. And so inside the if statement, if the ball did intersect with the brick, I'm going to return true. And then if this was not the case, then I'm going to return false. Okay, so going back to the draw game screen method, if this is true, then I'm going to add 1 to my score. Okay. Then I added this screen, which I think we did this in the last video. So basically, if my ball has stopped moving, that means it's game over. So I'm going to screen 3. And then this just draws my score in kind of the bottom left corner at an X of 5 and a Y value of 700. Okay. Then in my mouse pressed, okay, so screen 1 is my title screen. Screen 2 is my game screen, and I don't really do anything with mouse clicks on screen 2. But if screen is 3, so my lose screen, I'm going to get the text that they entered from the text field, and I'm going to store that into the global variable name. So again, you should have a string variable declared at the top called name right here. Okay, so that's the new name of the person that just played. Yeah, and then I'm going to repaint. Okay, and then finally, if I go up to the draw lose screen, so again, if I go up to my paint component method, if screen is 3, that's where I'm going to show my lose screen. So in there, I am going to draw a background and then set my font. And I set my color to white, and then I'm just saying game over, and then I'm showing the score. Okay, so now your next job is to, when the user enters their name, so in the, I believe I put that in the mouse pressed, yeah, so right here, you might want to make a new player object with this name and their score. and then add it to the array list. We have an array list called high score list, I believe. If I go to the top, yeah. So in the last video, we made an array list called high score list. So you want to add that name to it and then sort it, sort that array list. And then you want to save that to the text file that's located in your project folder. Okay, so that's a little bit of work there, but I want to leave that as an exercise for you to see if you can figure out how to do that. Okay, ask away if you have any questions, and looking forward to seeing your progress. Okay, see you in the next one.